No one wanted the human. You could feel in the room before anyone said a word. The moment my name was called, the princess froze. Not surprised, not confused, just alarmed. My name is Marcus Vale. And across the Accord, I am known for one thing. Not strength, not violence, not even skill, unpredictability, and in a galaxy built on control. That is the worst thing you can be. I was sitting in the back row of the Grand Conclave Hall when it happened. Ether Station, neutral ground. 47. Civilizations point 2 stars outside the glass ceiling, their light breaking in shifting patterns across the floor. Beautiful. I wasn't looking at it. I hadn't slept in 31 hours. And the chair was comfortable. They were running the escort lottery. Simple system, no bias, no politics. Names go in, assignments come out. Cleaned up, fared up, predictable, at least in theory. Operative Marcus Vale. The announcer's voice carried across the hall. Calm. Routine, like this was just another name. Human operative. Class designation 7. A pause, then assigned to escort Her Royal Highness, Princess Seraphale Vorian of the Luminari Empire. Silence. Not normal silence. Heavy silence. The kind where people don't react yet, because they're still deciding how to react. I opened my eyes and looked forward. She was exactly where I expected, seated above the rest. Still, perfect. Luminari royalty always looked like they belonged in light, tall, composed, wrapped in silver and white that reflected everything around them. Their skin marked with soft golden lines that glowed when they were calm. Right now, they were not calm. The light along her neck flickered, fast, uneven, alarm. She grabbed her advisor's arm, said something quickly. I couldn't hear it. Didn't need it. I've seen that conversation before 100 times. Check again. There must be a mistake. Fix this. Her advisor nodded, carefully, like someone trying to calm a situation, while secretly hoping she was right. She wasn't. The announcer checked the panel. Once, twice, then confirmed no change. Now the entire hall was watching. Not openly, but enough. Glances, shifts, curiosity. People love watching something go wrong, as long as it's not happening to them. That I stood up, adjusted my jacket, and walked forward. Let me be clear. She didn't hate me. She didn't know me. This wasn't personal. This was something deeper. The Luminari build everything on certainty. Their cities, their systems, their decisions, even their relationships. Everything is modeled, predicted, controlled. They plan generations ahead. They trust outcomes. They believe the future can be calculated. Humans don't fit into that we don't follow clean patterns, that we make decisions based on logic, emotion, instinct, fatigue, memory, and 100 other things that change every hour. We are not random, that we are just impossible to model. Them. Working with a human is like building a perfect structure and discovering one part of it refuses to behave. I stopped in front of her, gave her space, respectful distance. Why then she had recovered, composed, controlled, looking at me like she had already started calculating risk. Her advisor spoke first. The Luminari delegation requests a review of the assignment. Calm voice, carefully chosen words. The response came immediately, flat, unmoved. The result stands. No negotiation, no delay. The system was absolute. The advisor wanted to argue. You could see it, but he didn't, because arguing wouldn't change anything. So now, it was just us. She looked at me. I looked at her, and I said the only thing that mattered: I will keep you alive. No long speech. No promises. Just that. Her expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes did. A small shift, recalculation. I smiled. Just a little, tired, honest. Later, I was told that smile unsettled her more than anything else. I believe it. I left the hall and went to get coffee. Real coffee, which meant a long walk across the station. Worth it. I stood by a viewport, drinking it slowly, watching the stars, thinking point 3 previous escorts, point 3 incidents, all close calls. Now me. The route had been marked 97.3% safe. I hate numbers like that. 100% means no threat. 50% means everyone is alert. But 97%, that's dangerous because it feels safe. And when people feel safe, they stop paying attention. I finished the coffee and went to work. The assignment started in 4 hours. and I planned to use every second. The royal ship was exactly what you would expect. Perfect, too perfect. The Celestine Vow moved through space like it didn't belong to it. Smooth, silent, elegant in a way that didn't feel real. Inside, everything was clean, order precise. Every wall, every light, every corridor. Nothing out of place. Nothing unnecessary. I hated it immediately. Not because it was bad, because it was optimized. This ship was built for predicted threats, planned threats, expected threats, and that was the problem that I had been given. Quarters in the guest section. Comfortable. Spacious. Point 3 corridors away from the princess. That part mattered. There was also a note from Commander Alith, head of the Royal Guard. Polite, professional, clear. The placement was a courtesy. It was distance that I read at once. Packed my gear and moved. I set up in a maintenance alcove. 11 meters from the princess's door. Small space. Bad lighting. Smelled like cleaning chemicals. Perfect. I unfolded a chair, connected my sensor kit, and started reading system logs. 40 minutes later, Alith found me. He stood at the entrance, looking at me. Then the space. Then back at me. Your quarters are prepared, he said. I know. I said, I prefer this. Paused. He checked the room again. Like maybe he had missed something. The guest quarters are more comfortable. I'm not here for comfort. Another pause. Longer. He was thinking, trying to decide what this was. Disrespect? Protocol violation? Or something else? He chose something else. Is there a reason for this relocation? Good question. There's a blind spot, I said. Now he focused. Where? Third corridor junction. Between guest section and bridge route. I kept it simple. About 4 square meters. Sensors don't cover it properly. He didn't interrupt. Good sign. Someone's been there. That got his attention. Not crew. I added. Metabolic pattern doesn't match. Silence. Then, our system rated this route 97.3% safe. I nodded. I know. He left immediately. Didn't argue. Didn't question. That told me everything I needed to know about him. He was good at. I went back to the logs. 2 hours later, a message came. The princess wanted to speak with me. I followed a junior guard through the ship. Bright corridors, soft light. Everything exactly where it should be. We entered a reception room, designed for formal conversation. 2 chairs. Placed at a precise angle. I moved one. Just a little. The guard noticed, said nothing. The princess entered. Less formal this time. Still composed, still controlled. She Saturday looked at the chair, then at me. You relocated? She said yes. Without informing Commander Alith. I informed him when he found me. A slight pause. You also moved the chair. My back was to the door. She studied that, couldn't argue with it. Didn't like that. You are here to provide security, she said, not change protocol. Respectfully, I said, I'm here to keep you alive. The protocol is a tool. If it doesn't fit, I use another one. Her markings flashed once, quick, sharp. The protocols have been refined for centuries. I don't doubt it. I leaned slightly forward. They work against expected threats. I'm worried about the ones they don't expect. That landed. She didn't respond immediately. She was thinking, actually thinking. You mentioned a blind spot, she said. Yes. We confirmed it. I expected you would. There is also an anomaly. Careful word choice, not identified yet. It will be. She watched me closely. You sound very certain. Not about myself. I held her gaze. About this. Someone wants you dead, and they've already made one mistake. People who make one mistake, they make another. Silence. Longer this time. The ship hummed quietly around us, stars drifting behind her. The previous incidents, she said. 3 attempts. Yes. You reviewed them? Of course. What did you conclude? That this isn't random. I kept my voice steady. This is planned. Careful. Patient. They understand your security. They know how you think. And they stay just outside it. That changed something that I saw it. Recognition. That is why they assigned a human, she said quietly. Probably. I don't follow their model. She stood. Conversation over. Formal. Controlled. That I stood to the door. She paused. If you move anything else, a small beat. Inform someone. I almost smiled. Noted. That night, Everything confirmed itself 0.2 hours into rest cycle. The anomaly revealed itself. Cloaking unit, Gen 7 at high end, built for stable environments. This ship was perfect for it. That was its weakness, that I'd spent 4 hours breaking that stability. Small changes, careful adjustments across 3 systems. Nothing obvious, nothing that would trigger alerts, just enough to make the cloak fail that T2:14. It did. The infiltrator appeared 0.6 meters from her door. Alith's team was fast. I was faster than I was. Already there, T wasn't dramatic. An O fight, an O spectacle. Just pressured, timing that controlled up by the time a guard arrived. He was already on the floor. The princess was standing in the doorway. Watching, calm. I looked at her, 97.3% safe. She didn't respond immediately. Then, the other 2.7. I nodded. That's why you got me. Alith passed me. Paused for a second. Hand on my shoulder, professional respect. Nothing more. A team in enough. 0.6 hours later, we learned the truth. This wasn't over. T was bigger, connected to the summit. Something waiting for us at the destination. I went back to my alcove, sat down, started planning, because this was just the beginning. Dura Station was not a place people talked about proudly. IT existed because it was useful, not because anyone wanted it. 0.3 trade routes crossed near it. That made it important, but no one claimed it, which meant everyone used it and no one controlled it. The result? A place built in pieces, different species, different designs, different priorities, nothing matched. Curved structures next to sharp angles. Old systems patched into newer ones. Additions built on top of additions that IT shouldn't have. Worked, but it did. Barely. The air smelled, lived in, not clean. Not dirty, just real. Most species didn't like that I did. The Celestine vowed dock for a full security suite. 0.14 hours. That was the plan. The princess's security team locked everything down. Private suite. Upper tier, safe, controlled. Predictable. She didn't stay there. That of course she didn't. She came to find me herself. In O guards, in O escort. Commander Alith would not be happy. That I wasn't surprised that I was sitting a small food place near the docks. Nothing special. But it had one important thing. Real coffee. She sat across from me in O royal robes. In O ceremony. Just travel clothes. She looked different. Younger. More human. This is not approved, she said. I know, I said. Are you concerned? I looked around. Quick. Automatic. 0.8 people inside. 0.2 workers behind the counter. 0.1 trader eating alone. A small family. 0.1 maintenance worker I had already seen twice. Everything normal. No, I said. Not here. She looked around too. Slower. More careful. How do you know? She asked. Good question. I thought about it. Experience, I said. That's not a real answer. It's the honest one. I leaned back slightly. I've been in enough bad places to know what they feel like. This isn't one. She studied that. Our systems would require a full scan, she said. They'd probably agree with me, I said. Just slower. She didn't like that. What if you're wrong? Then I'm wrong. No hesitation. That happens. She blinked slightly. But when I'm wrong, I added, I'm wrong about this moment. Your systems are wrong in predictable ways. Mine aren't. That stayed with her. I could see it. You accept uncertainty, she said. I work with it. We eliminate it. I know. She looked down at her drink. That idea is, she paused. Incomprehensible. I nodded. Yep. Then, noise. Loud voices outside. Something hit the floor. I turned. Problem. 0.3 sides at a cargo trader. 0.2 dock workers at a merchant. Different species. Different priorities. Same issue. Misplaced cargo. The princess froze. Her hand moved toward her alarm. I was already standing. Stay here, I said. Then I walked in. Hands visible. Relax. And authority. And weapon. Just presence. The loudest one was the trader. That didn't mean anger. That meant communication style. The workers were defensive. The merchant was quiet, which meant he was the most dangerous one in the conversation. I listened. 0.15 seconds. That's all it took. Misrouted cargo. Broken system override. Time pressure. Simple. I started talking. First, I complained about the docking system. Everyone laughed, shared frustration, instant connection. Then I asked the merchant about his goods. Specific question. His posture changed. Now he was engaged, not aggressive. Then I gave the trader a solution, different bay, faster loading that he didn't check that he trusted. At 2 minutes later, it was over. Everyone had what they needed, and oh shouting, and oh conflict. I walked back, sat down. The princess was staring at me. How? She asked. I paid attention. That's not enough. It is. I shrugged slightly. I know the layout. I know the species. I know how people act under pressure. That's all. She shook her head slowly. You had no authority, no control, no system support, and you solved it. 2 minutes, I said. She ignored that. Our mediators would take 20, she said. I know. That's not a criticism, she added quickly. I know that too. She looked down again, thinking. Then she spoke more quietly. When I heard her name, I listened. I remembered something. A human laughed at a formal event. I raised an eyebrow slightly. At the wrong moment? Yes. Why? She hesitated. Then he mispronounced a word. What happened? It changed the meaning to something ridiculous. I looked at her. Was it funny? Pause. Yes. Very quiet it was. I nodded. That explains it. For the first time, her expression shifted. Not a full smile, but close. Then my communicator buzzed and I checked it. Read it twice. Set it down. Bad news? She asked. Clear news, I said, and I looked at her directly. Then Filtrator talked. Silence. This is bigger. I kept it simple. Someone at the summit wants you dead. She didn't react, didn't panic, didn't move. Just place her glass down. Calm, precise. Then we go, she said. That was the moment. The first real one at the moment I knew. I was glad it was me. Luminara Prime looked like a world that had been solved. Everything made sense. The air was clear, too clear. The light from its stars spread evenly across the land. Nothing blocked it. Nothing distorted it. The ground itself, pale stone and crystal. Structures didn't feel built. They felt grown. Perfect lines, perfect angles, perfect purpose. Standing there, you could almost believe the universe was simple that I didn't. Because places like this hide things well. The grand spire stood at the center of it. All massive, elegant. Every surface reflected light. Every space had intention. Nothing wasted. Nothing random. That IT was beautiful and completely unsafe. The summit had drawn 31 civilizations. That meant 31 sets of interests, 31 histories, 31 reasons to agree or disagree. Too many variables. The princess's speech was scheduled for the second day. The high balcony, famous, symbolic, visible to the entire city. That IT meant openness, trust, transparency. From a security perspective, it was a nightmare that I spent the first day. Doing what I always do. Not standing out. Watching, listening. That I attended the reception. Wore the uniform. Stood where I was expected to stand. But I didn't stay there. That I talked. People no one notices. Catering staff. They move everywhere. Hear everything. Invisible. That I talk to junior aides. They know more than anyone. And no one listens to them. That I ask questions. Simple ones. Not obvious. Just enough. Then I spoke to the security team. Asked about the balcony. They answered professionally, confidently. 3. Sides covered. 1 side. Not fully. Delayed upgrade. 18 months. Small gap. Just enough. That was all I needed to be by the end of the day. I had 6 names. 6 people who didn't I teed up behavior. That access. That connections. That proof. Didn't need it yet. I needed to change the situation. To SO the plan would break. That I requested a meeting. Her suite was at the top of the spire. The view was unreal. The entire city below. Light reflecting in patterns that kept shifting. She stood at the window, didn't turn when I entered. You found something, she said. Yes. She turned the balcony. That's the problem. She didn't like that. That balcony has been used for 90 years. I know. It's tradition. It's exposure. It's the point. I understand. Then I said it. Change it. Silence. Not anger. Thought. You're asking me to break tradition. I'm asking you to stay alive. That landed. She walked a few steps, thinking, if I change it, and you're right, we expose them. Yes. And if you're wrong, you lose tradition. I didn't soften it. She turned slightly. And you accept both outcomes? I accept one is far more likely. Silence again, longer, then decision. We do it your way. Simple, clear. Who else knows? She asked. No one. And it stays that way. She studied me. Why? Because 3 of the 6 I'm watching are connected to security. That changed everything. That if the wrong person knew, the plan would adapt. We would lose the advantage. She understood that completely. You've been doing this the whole time, she said, talking, watching, connecting things. Yes. The catering staff helped. That almost made her smile. Tomorrow, she said, we do it your way. The next morning, the ministers were not happy. Tradition, protocol, image, they argued everything. She listened, calm, patient. Then I made my decision. That was it. They looked at me. I smiled. They stopped arguing. The change spread through the system. Quietly, quickly I watched reactions. Point 6 people, point 2 stayed. Normal, point 3, increased communication. Interesting, point 1 went silent. 2 silent. That was the one. Bren Ashford. Not important, not visible, which made him perfect. After the change, he made 4 calls. Canceled meetings, moved position. Closer to a service corridor. I noticed that I made 3 calls of my own. Not official ones. Personal ones. Favors, connections. People who don't show up in systems. By the time the speech started, everything was ready. She walked into the chamber. Not above, among them. I leveled. No distance. She spoke. Clear. Confident. No notes. Real words. I didn't watch her. I watched the room. Point 7 minutes in. Ashford moved toward the corridor. He didn't make it. Point 14 meters. Then stopped. Quietly. Clean. No disruption. No panic. The rest of the operation collapsed. Fast. The speech continued. No one noticed. That was the point. When she finished, there was silence. Real silence. Not confusion. Not protocol. Understanding. Then applause. Not formal. Real. Later, a minister asked me, how did you know? I thought about it. All of it. The small things, the ignored things, the things no system tracks. I paid attention. I said. He didn't like that answer. Most people don't. The summit ended the way all successful things do. Quietly, agreement signed, speeches given. Everyone acting like it had always been this way, like nothing almost went wrong. My assignment ended at 1700. Simple message. Mission complete. That I filed a report, closed the file. Then I sat down. For the first time in days, I had nowhere to be. The corridor was empty. Long window. The city stretched below. Light moving across crystal structures. Slow. Precise. Everything in its place. I watched it for a while. Places like this make you think about certainty, about control, about what it would be like to live in a world where everything makes sense. Then I thought about everything I knew and how often that kind of certainty breaks. I sat with both ideas. That's something humans get good at, holding 2 opposite truths at the same time. Operative veil. I turned. She was alone, an guard, an advisor. Just her. Travel clothes again. Less distance. She sat beside me. Not too close. Not too far. We didn't speak right away. This silence was different. Not awkward. Complete. The summit went well, she said. It did. I submitted a commendation for you. You didn't have to. I know. Small pause. That's why I did. I looked outside again. Then she asked, did you ever feel like you didn't belong here? That was a real question. I took it seriously. Belonging is complicated, I said. For humans, it always has been. I thought for a moment. Before space, we spread across a planet we weren't built for. Different climates, different conditions, we adapted. And when that didn't work, we changed the environment. I looked at her. When we reached the stars, we expected to feel out of place. And some did. But most of us, I shrugged slightly. We just started talking. We learned. We paid attention. We found the gaps no one else noticed. Pause. We don't belong anywhere perfectly. We just show up anyway. And that turns out to be enough. She was quiet, thinking. That's what you did, she said. Everywhere. On the ship. At the station. Here. You weren't the strongest. Or the highest ranked. You just showed up. I smiled slightly. That's one way to describe it. It's the correct way, she said. Then, she said something important. I panicked when I heard your name. I nodded, I know. I judged something before I understood it. That happens. It's not something I respect. That mattered. More than the commendation. More than the success. Then I want you on my next mission. Straightforward, clear, the spring session. Contested route. Multiple delegations. High risk. Of course it was that I thought about it. Then, when does it leave? She smiled. The first real one, 6 weeks. Send me the files, I said. She stood that I stood. Thank you. Marcus. Not operative. Marcus. That was new. She walked away, confident, different that I sat back down, pulled up the next assignment list, looked at the route, noted 2 problems no one had flagged, started writing point 2 weeks later, back at Ether Station. Same hall, same system, different mission. They called another name that a strong operative. The client looked relieved. Then, my name came up, secondary assignment. The client looked at me and said it out loud. Anyone but the human. Some people agreed. Some didn't say anything that I didn't react, because I was already looking at something else, that a small detail, 0.12 seconds, that a timing issue in the route. Alone? Nothing. Combined with 2 other things, it mattered that I wrote it down, that I bring it up later. The main operative caught my eye, he understood. That look professionals give each other. When they know someone is already ahead, that I nodded. The meeting continued, I leaned back. Thought about what was coming, 0.6 weeks, that I contested. Route. Delegations that hadn't met in 11 years, that a princess who now understood something she didn't before, that a commander who adapted more than he admitted, and a system that still missed things. There are always gaps, places no one looks, things no one tracks, and people who rely on that. They never learn. And honestly, I'm counting on it.